Yes, 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 and we are live. We are live here on Let's Think Podcast. I'm your host, Sheikh 7 Islam Male. Of course, I have to do it as I always do it, like a Moorish American. I rise giving all thanks and perfect praises to Allah.
Absolute to the God.
Highest honors to His Holy Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Honors to the forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to all leadership, past, present, and future. Honors to my leadership, Brother L. Portisel, our Grand Sheikh and Sister M. Portisel. Honors to our administration. And honors to all participating in the comprehensive program of uplifting fallen humanity. Islam, Islam, Islam. And we are live. We got our brother Khalil Maliki Farr, also known as Khalil Ali-Allah, back in the building. Back on Let's Think Podcast. It's been a minute, great guy. How you be?
I'm all right, God. I've been just building.
Building, as always.
Just been building, man.
Chill.
I ain't got no time to be playing no games with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, let me just put this cord in real quick, son.
Yes, sir. I see. I think there's awareness in the building. Peace to Allah's nation, 5% nation of gods on earth. Peace, peace, awareness. Asiatic soldier, peace, peace. South Jersey in the building.
If it, thank God. I'm glad that this socket was so close.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, listen, hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button as you come in. Please, please share the link, share the video to your social media. Let everybody know we live right now. Let everybody know we live right now so everybody can tune in. You tune in because we got some heavy things to talk about, you know. The Nation of Islam and the history of the Nation of Islam and biblical prophecy. Me and his brothers had quite a few conversations in this area. And I just felt like it would be great for the brother to demonstrate some of the things that he's definitely placed on my plate, things he's allowed me to be privy to. So we definitely in the building. Let's see here. All right, I think I'm shared on Facebook. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So without further ado, brother, let's get right into it. Brother, I don't even know where to start with this dialogue because man, you've dug into this one so much, and I really don't know where to start. But however, allow me to ask this question to possibly start this dialogue. I have heard quite frequently when we hear brothers from the Nation of Islam demonstrate, they quite frequently teach on Elijah being the modern day Moses. Mm-hmm. And they build on the fact that the biblical narrative, the fact that Moses had a brother, and his brother was named Aaron. Right. And a lot of things transpired in that story. And you were one of the ones who allowed me into the history of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad in regards to the minister, Louis Farrakhan. Mm-hmm. So I'd like for you to jump in right there if you could, and then just allow it to come on now.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
You know I have to be really in that mind state to get it, because when we be on that phone, we be freestyling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It be popping in my head because I'll be in that bag, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's talk about Elijah. Let's talk about Elijah and Moses. What makes, from your perspective, because I know we're going to have plenty of brothers from the nation who possibly look at this video and may see it as well and have their draw on it. But, demonstrate to us what makes that so significant and what makes that so significant for us as Asiatics here in the wilderness of North America.
Well, I will first detail and say, because I don't want to go fully into that history as far as how it all connects books of Daniels and all of these particular things.
Yes, sir.
But what I will deal with is what connects the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his position and what he did. First, you have to know that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the biblical Moses did not exist. He said that the biblical Moses was a prophetical figure.
Okay.
So it's very important, and we can submit to that he did not exist. And we know that he did not exist, not in the biblical sense per se, because if you look at the biblical Moses, you can see a composite story with him, right?
Yes, sir.
Whether we dealing with Akhenaten, and some people tie a little bit of the history of Thutmose III with inside of that. But in reality, you could fit Akhenaten with inside of that story and some of those details as they match figure by figure on certain levels.
Yes,
Even
sir.
down to the Talmudic speaking of the copper rod, which he called a staff that Moses had, right? Which we do know was each particular priest or hierophant or king of ancient Egypt had a rod, right?
Yes, sir.
Akhenaten's rod was a serpent. So without going real deep into that detail and just sticking with the subject matter on point, because that can go kind of far, I would say when you look at Musa, or you look at Moses, and you looking at Moses' garnering of a people and protection of people, that are stiff-necked, hard-headed people that he was making reference to. And to tie him into into Aaron, also deals with a particular theological statement. And I would like to get into those details, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, then. So inside of the biblical character, you have an individual by the name of Musa or Moses who goes up inside of the mountain for 40 days or 40 nights. We're making reference to particular stages and times of which a particular figure will be teaching and will be developing over a course of time and period, which in this case is 40 years, right? The number 4 also symbolizes foundation. So during a particular cycle, a foundation is being created, right?
Yes, sir.
That's why it's so important when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, he's taught that I am laying the foundation for the creation of a universal knowledge. He said that it was to become universal. He said it's not universal yet. He said it's to become universal or we will still not be teaching. So he was laying a foundation for 40 years, for which will be an establishment for our development today, to build our monument of knowledge on the foundation for which he set forth for us to grow and for us to develop from. But what's important is you have a figure by the name of Aaron that comes about, that during the time period of Moses being away, this individual Aaron is pretty much guiding and has submitted to the rule of the people. Therefore, you have the calf for which arises into the spectrum. So when Moses comes back, he speaks and he talks and he says to him pretty much, what have you done here? The Quran is a little bit more clearer. It grabs him by his head and by his beard. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the beard represents authority. And he said also that it can also represent kingship. Whenever you grab something by the beard or the head, it represents that he controls the mind or the head, because whichever direction the head go, so do the body. So when he grabs him by the beard, he grabs him by his authority in order to direct him, right? So this comes a particular time when Aaron comes back into the teachings itself. And when Aaron is questioned by Moses, man, this thing is deep, right? This get interesting. Because when Moses comes back down and he is speaking with Aaron, if you notice, Aaron and Moses pretty much he comes back under reign. And they begin to vary with inside of the wilderness, at which times he helps them rebuild the temple, rebuild the structure, rebuild the original dress, rebuild the original worship. All of this is being done while they existing within inside of the wilderness. Right?
Yes, sir.
This thing is gonna get a little interesting. During, and this not a knock to nobody, but we're gonna deal with the prophetical reality as it is, whether it's intended or not intended. It will stand. You notice that at the ending, man, you had three figures in the beginning. You got the Korah, you have Aaron, and you have Moses. Korah becomes an adversary against Moses, right? Korah is eliminated, right? So Korah then represents Malcolm X, right? Because it gets eliminated. So you have two individuals that exist, which is Moses and Aaron. Moses symbolized the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Minister Farrakhan then symbolizes Aaron, right? Now I'm going to show you how deep this is with that. After Aaron and Moses helped to rebuild and establish everything, notice that when they get to the promised land and Moses is there with them, he does not allow Aaron to enter the promised land. In fact, God tells Moses to strip Aaron of his royal garments and to give that to his brother Elzarus. Now, does that mean it's because of his second doubting God, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean intent, because we know that Minister Farrakhan believed in Master Muhammad and all those particular things. But what it's making reference to is certain actions that have been performed for which places certain things in judgment. Right?
Yes, sir.
Certain things will be placed in judgment. And that in reality, whenever you have a messenger that comes amongst the people, they are the shepherd of that people.
Yes, sir.
Whatever errors they make, the people suffer by that error. It doesn't matter if they intended or they don't. They will be judged for the errors that they leave. Right? This is just how human nature is and how things are magnified. But let's take a note. When Moses came down unto Aaron and he grabbed him by his beard and his head, and he asked him, why did you pretty much have my people worshiping that calf? And what did God and what did Moses and what was Aaron's response to him? He blamed it on a character by the name of Samaras. He talked about how he was afraid. When you get to the earlier documentation of Brother Minister Farrakhan, and if you know the history of Philadelphia, you will learn that when Minister Farrakhan was speaking at Savior's Day 1975, he was given a phone call in order to attend. That phone call came from Brother Minister Jeremiah Shabazz. If people don't want to believe it, all they got to do is get on YouTube. Brother Minister Jeremiah Shabazz is on YouTube stating that he's the one that made the call. And he told Minister Farrakhan that he pretty much better have been at Savior's Day. And he said that he said it in such a manner because at that time, Brother Minister Jeremiah had the team that came from Mosque number 12. So behind that thing is also a threat that also exists at the same time.
Yes, sir.
When you read the works of Abbas Rasul and his theology of time, which is hard to get in some cases, in the beginning, he talks about how he put Minister Farrakhan in the middle of the speakers in order to try to contain him, right? And to keep him in position. So when you start to look at that history a little bit deeper, Brother Minister Farrakhan will tell you, and he has stated that there was brothers that was behind the curtain with guns. So Brother Minister Farrakhan, one of his statements was that he was afraid. That he was afraid of what? He was afraid that he will cause war. But I would say things a little bit more calmly. I would say you got gangsters sitting up in there that now is supporting Wallace. And these men are definitely what they claim to be, right? And this violence is real coming from them, right? So when you read the Holy Quran, that's one of the statements that Aaron states to Moses, that he was afraid. So when you look at the character Samaras, and he blames Samaras for the actions of what he did, and I mean, for the actions of the calf and things of that nature. Who was Samaras? That was Wallace Muhammad. That was Warder Dean Muhammad. Because if you understand, 6 months after Warder Dean Muhammad physically took over, inside of a magazine called Africa, Minister Farrakhan is within there supporting what will be integration with inside of the temple.
Ooh.
This is 6 months after. He makes a statement pretty much that we have grown beyond the particular state of separation and that we are now prepared pretty much to allow, white people into the ranks.
Yes, sir.
So now this is when he's in full hypocrisy, though. Okay. This is when he's in full hypocrisy. This is not when he rises up. You have to understand that when Wallace took over, it was already conquered. So when Minister Jeremiah said that in 1975 Savior's Day, he said that he realized that whether the messenger lived or whether the messenger died, the coup had already been taken. It had already been done. So there was nothing that was going to stop it. So when Minister Farrakhan made the move that it was under Wallace's direction. And anybody that has studied Imam Warder Dean Muhammad in his teachings, and then you look at the body of work of what Brother Minister Farrakhan has done, you can very much see and clearly the integration of Imam Warder Dean Muhammad's teachings, very clear within the present teachings that are given through Brother Minister Farrakhan today. But this is guaranteed. When Brother Minister Farrakhan was interviewed at the Bilalian newspaper, by the Bilalian News, after the death of Brother Imam Warder Dean Muhammad, he said that I think that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad brought the thesis, and that Imam Warder Dean Muhammad brought the antithesis, and that he was to make a synthesis of the two. That's a very important statement. And I'm not saying Wolf was a game, because Wolf was sharp. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But at the same time, you have to look at his movement. Let's take this, for instance. The removal of December fast. I think that Brother Minister Farrakhan removed December fast. He said we would no longer recognize it or whatever in 2011. I think that was the date. If you could find the exact words of what he said and you put that inside of Google, it don't come up to him. It come up 1975. Because the same exact words that he uses is the same exact words that Imam Warder Dean Muhammad used in 1975. The teaching, Imam Warder Dean Muhammad went to the effect of stating that he was the Mahdi.
What?
That he was Jesus.
What?
This is a fact. On my page, there is documentation when Warder made up the belief that that man of the Ahmadiyya, Abdullah, was Master Farad Muhammad. And the individual that was with him said that he had met him and he came up and reasoned the idea that that was Master Farad Muhammad. Even though when that man was interviewed, he said that he came in America in 1960. We have documentation, even arrest records that Savior is here in 1933, at least 1933. So we know that that's not him. But Imam Warder Dean Muhammad followers still will teach the same lie. Okay? Now, to go a little bit more within inside of that history. Even down to the war between the Nation of Islam right now over the death of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Inside the book of Jude, you have Michael, and you have the Archangel Michael, and you have the devil wrestling over the body of Moses. Right? Okay. Now look at that. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the Archangel Michael of the biblical tale is representing an archetype of the workings of Master Farad Muhammad would do at the end of the days. This is what he teaches. I have the letters, so I know this is what he teaches. Right now, what is the main separation between the bodies of the Nation of Islam? The belief that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is either physically dead or physically alive. Correct?
Right.
Inside of a letter in Black Collegiate Magazine by Brother Minister Joe Tex. It was in 1974. That was manifested by Brother Minister Ali-Allah inside of his book, The Angels of Allah. Cites this particular text that came from the paper. In there, Joe Tex states, and I'm going to show you how deep this is. Joe Tex states, here is a man that holds power. He said Allah gave him a blank check that whatever the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted to write in it, he can. He said, here go a man that has power over life and death, that whenever he sees himself die, he will die. He said that the messenger spares his followers from mourning over his death. Now watch what he said. He said that the angels would have came and carried him away and buried him, while the believers would still be doing their thing, thinking that he is still off somewhere living. We are in 2025. Is that not the case? Is there not a Nation of Islam for which states that the messenger is physically alive and the believers are doing their thing, but they think he's off somewhere living? Okay, now I'm not contending with the belief itself, because I don't get into other theological realities, right?
Right, exactly.
That's not for me to do. Okay, inside of the Bible, when God spoke unto Moses, he said, I will give you your brother, because Moses had a speech impediment.
Yes, sir.
If we was to bring that today, we will mean somewhat like how the messenger taught, how he spoke. He was not refined by the colleges. He was not a linguist in the way that he spoke. But Aaron is, which is the brother minister Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
He is. He fits that. And what did he say to him in some translations? He said, to you, he would be as a prophet, your prophet. And to him, you will be what? God. Right now, in the Nation of Islam, has not the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad been put in the position of Mahdi? Has he not been put in the position as God?
Yes, sir, he has.
Minister Farrakhan is his messenger, Messiah, right? Right now. I'm just speaking of theological reality and being able to see it today.
Yes, sir.
Even if you was to go into the Bible, when the book of Revelations, where the woman flees into the wilderness, she's pregnant. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and she's running from the dragon, and she goes there and she feeds. God pretty much takes care of this woman and feed her while she's in the wilderness, right? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that represented a messenger with a baby nation that was to be born. How long was the woman inside of the wilderness? 1,260 days, right? If you equate and convert 1,260 days, it equals 3 years and 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
That is exactly the time period that Master Muhammad and the messenger was taught by Master Muhammad. Right?
Yes, sir.
That's what it is. Now, to go a little bit more into detail, because there's certain things I want to delve into that I explained to you in regards to this.
Yes, sir.
And there's certain things that I do want to address, because I see a lot of individuals teaching on this brother minister Malcolm X thing, and they keep pushing this thing that the Nation of Islam are the ones that killed them, even though the daughters have $100 million lawsuit against the United States of America.
Yep. And the NYPD.
And NYPD. Now, I'm going to show you how deep this is. Who told Brother Minister Malcolm X, that the messenger supposedly was sleeping with other women. Who told him?
Warren
Worf did. Brother Minister Malcolm X, and you can get it off of YouTube, is documented in front of the reporters stating that Imam Wallace Muhammad told him about his father having children by other women, right? This is documented. In the 1980s, the late 80s, Imam Waddard-Dean, or early 90s, Imam Waddard-Dean, this on YouTube too, is talking, and he states that he didn't tell Malcolm that. Now, I want you to listen, because every time that Malcolm was trying to find his place again, Wallace would come and start speaking in his head, right? Guaranteed. But I'm going to show you how deep this really goes. If you ever read the FBI files, they have entire pages that say informants, where it's retracted, where they got lines of informants blacked out. They had infiltrated the Nation of Islam so well that when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was on the phone with the passport agency trying to get a passport for him and his sons, when he got off the phone, he made certain statements. Do you know the FBI knew what he said? That after he got off the phone, he said certain things. The person who was working with them was so close that they went and reported back to the FBI what he said word for word after he hung up the phone. So when you're talking about Nation of Islam members, Nation of Islam being the ones that killed them, we got to keep things in perspective. Do you know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad received death threats from Brother Minister Malcolm X? Did they know? Now, did he send those letters? Or did they play the COINTELPRO play the same game?
That was J. Edgar Hoover and COINTELPRO.
1,000%.
They was intercepting letters between the two, right?
1,000%. That's why Brother Minister Malcolm X put it on audio, which is on YouTube.
Yeah.
But let me show you. He talked about how his letters he wrote them several times, and that they was being intercepted. Why? Yes, because of the government officials that was in heads inside of the Nation of Islam itself. Did not the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad state that the Nation of Islam were honeycombed with hypocrites? He wasn't referencing nobody disbelief in him. He was referencing that these people was working for the government.
Yes, sir.
Now let me prove how deep this goes. And I'm going to show you who the head is. They said in the FBI files, and no, let me complete with the letters. They did the same thing between Stokely Carmichael and Huey P. Newton, right?
Right.
They wrote letters, the FBI did, trying to cause issues between the two. They did the same thing with the Nation of Islam, right? Which would infuriate. Now, I'm not saying Brother Minister Malcolm X made it any better, because people would say, well, why did the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad silence him and say, don't speak on the JFK elimination? It's logical. Why would you? He said that our people were still in love with him. Do you know that they pulled up on a brother and blew his face off while he was selling the paper after Malcolm made that statement? They killed him, broad daylight, because of a statement. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad knew the condition and knew the enemy that would set up a doorway for which will cause violence upon the Muslims.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? So he would be wise. In a speaking that he made to Brother Minister Malcolm X, he said to Brother Minister Malcolm X inside of Muhammad Speaks, he said, Brother Minister, he said to him, he said, what would I do if we was to get arms and go to war with them? He said, where will we bring the bodies of our people who are injured? To who hospitals? To who supermarkets do we get the food? He said, I'm not foolish enough to bring my people into the fire and I can't get them back out. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
This is mathematics, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
Now, when they are causing the war because the hypocrites or the FBI agents at the top, remember inside the FBI files, they make this particular statement. They said after the death of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they didn't wait what to do, that they had to put somebody in office that would do what? Change the black nationalist ideology into a self-improvement, self-development group. This is what they say. Do you know that in one of their files, they even admit that one of the most dangerous teachings was that the black man is God?
I bet it is.
Now, let me show you something. Wallace was put out, but at a certain time, Wallace came back, and it was during a Savior's Day, and they walked up to the messenger here, and they was talking. They told his sons outside. He said, listen, he said, no, he got to come before the believers, and they have to forgive him. Why did he come in at the time after Malcolm X was eliminated? Why would he come back then? Who sent him? Now, I'm about to show you something. Inside of a video that was by Brother Lance Shabazz. He had a video in which he had his class. I mean, you know, he did his show. And they asked him. He showed a paper that said, Ali Farrakhan work against black Air Force pilot, work with government against black Air Force pilot. In the caption, in the lower left-hand corner, over in the right-hand corner, if it's facing you, right up under the caption, they got the brother face. So Brother Lance Shabazz has the brother stand up. He's in the audience. He says, did you say this? Brother say, I really didn't say it like that. He said, what I said is that Wallace Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's son, is working with the government. I wrote Lance Shabazz because I wanted to buy it for myself. So I wrote him, can't get the email when I wrote him to request what I asked for, because you have to go to his, you can go to his website where he sells his book, and then you got a little message, little center that you could send it that way, right? So when he got my email, he responded. And right here, this is from Lance Shabazz. So you can see that's him. And yes, I respond. He say, thank you for your interest in my show with Brother Avis X. I have discontinued selling any of my shows. I made the decision the past 5 years for personal reasons. I will retain your contact information. If anything changes, thank you for understanding. Lance Shabazz. I respond. I say, wa alaikum salam, sir. I understand. Can you please keep me in mind of any changes? I'm putting together a defense for the messenger. I have all Wallace lies, and I'm putting together a detail of the NOI deep infiltration and those agents' hands in maneuvering Malcolm. Thank you for everything, Brother Lance. He said, I would definitely keep you in mind. So that's letting you know that the video really exists.
Right.
That the brother did finger Wallace Muhammad as working with the government. So that means that after the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's death, Wallace Muhammad, an agent, not only dismantled the Nation of Islam. Do you know that the day of Savior's Day, his father died the 25th, Savior's Day the 26th. Do you know he threw a party in his father's house? Drinking and all. I want you to see how deep this gets. I want you to show how this is. When you look at the brother Islam and all of them who was locked up, and the ones that did not fire a bullet to kill Brother Malcolm, when they interviewed them, they asked them, did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad know? And they said no, because his heart was too pure to give that particular order. Several ministers, Minister Theodore Tariq Hamza, Brother Minister Farrakhan, all of them said the messenger gave an order to leave Malcolm alone. So then if he gave the order to leave him alone, why would John Ali go down there, the national secretary of the Nation of Islam, John Ali? Why would he go down there to give instructions, talking to Islam and them about hurting that brother Minister Malcolm X? Now the question is, who gave him instructions to do what he did? The same government that had the power to move Wallace to do what he did. You see how this works?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when people are talking about who killed Malcolm X, the United States government killed Malcolm X. That's who killed him. But did Malcolm X lie? Malcolm X made a statement that he went to Mecca, at which time he saw white Muslims. That's not the first time he saw white Muslims. He had met many delegates from Turkey in the late 1950s. He met them. That's nothing new. So he lied. He stated that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had babies by these, he say, underage teenage secretaries. But what he ignored when he was sitting up there on his eviction proceeding, he didn't say teenage secretaries. He said that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had taken on 9 wives. He said a whole different word. But Malcolm was being maneuvered. And he didn't know until the ending of who these power pieces was, which was the FBI, CIA. Thus, they poisoned Malcolm when Malcolm was in Africa.
Yeah, I read about that.
So the Nation of Islam were infiltrated all the way to the top. And they were also victims of COINTELPRO. Now, not to show you how deep this is, did I not just let you hear a video?
Yes, sir.
In which Eman Wallace was being paid money from Saudi Arabia in order to push Wahhabism. Did you not hear it clearly?
I heard it clear, very clear.
That the brother said that he was the secretary, was receiving the money, and one of the monies he got was $1 million. Is that not clear that you heard?
That's clear.
Okay.
Not only the fact that $1 million, that the buildings that they bought, and the
1,000%.
Don't worry about however much it costs. Don't worry.
And that they will take care of it. Do you know that Imam Ward-of-Din Muhammad talked to his uncle, Supreme Minister John Muhammad, which is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's brother, in regards to the debt of the Nation of Islam? At which time Supreme Minister John Muhammad informed Imam Ward-of-Din Muhammad, listen to this language, he informed him that as long as you keep it under the nonprofit Nation of Islam, you will be just fine. Do you know he went and changed the name? And that led to the economic collapse of the Nation of Islam. Do you know that when they went to him about the building of the hospital, they said, we ain't going in that direction no more? I'm trying to tell you that the government took the nation down, got Malcolm out of the way because Malcolm was the heir apparent. And they used the messenger's son and the rest of the agents in the Nation of Islam to do it. So when we talking about who killed Malcolm X, you could best believe who. So then you get the arguments, well, why was the Nation of Islam cheering? Why would they be happy? Because they was infuriated. They had received inside scoops of letters of him talking about wanting to kill the messenger and things of that particular nature. Wouldn't you be angry too?
Of course I
would. Right. Would he not then become your op?
Of course he would.
All right, then. This is how it works. Men are not above repose.
Right.
We get emotional. But they was maneuvered. But what people don't understand is that they did communicate. And when Brother Minister Malcolm X finally spoke with the messenger again, the messenger said, you can return. He said, but you have to go out there and put out some of them fires that you did. And when you listen to that tape, he clearly said he still believed in the messenger. He still believed Master from Muhammad. But see, when you got them enemies and that government in motion and that COINTELPRO, boy, they was maneuvering a lot of them brothers and sisters, man, like it was nothing.
Right.
That's how you destroy a nation. That's how you turn brothers against brothers. And it still works today because the people are maneuvering off of emotion instead of looking at the enemy. They not looking at the enemy, the true enemy. Let me address something else. Malcolm X made a statement that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had met with the Ku Klux Klan, and because people on the outside are looking at that, they make it seem like he had did some betrayal in favor of that. No, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was serious about separation.
Yes, sir.
He wanted to meet with the Klan. They had divvied up the United States of America, where blacks will be on one area of particular states that they would take. And then the white people was to take particular states. And then there was going to be a separation. So people talking, who else would you talk to? One of the most powerful white supremacist groups of the time. If you're talking about truly divvying up a country and making a move to separate, to be of your own. Even when he let the white nationalists, Nazis, come to the joint. Inside of the paper, he tell you why he let them come. He said he wanted you to see. He let them speak because he wanted you to see what they thought about you. He wanted to use that energy to push the believers to build and to want to separate as a serious thing. In the beginning, in the early 80s, we saw the movement of Brother Minister Farrakhan. He was pushing the same thing in the beginning in the early 80s, in the mid 80s. He was doing the same thing. He just began to maneuver a little differently. Now, am I knocking away he moved? No. 85% of our people is in Christianity. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that, brother, you know, sometimes you have to go up under that old ruggedy cross in order to get the people. Sometimes you got to do it. So the minister said the hardest thing for him to do is to connect the people with the larger Islamic world while keeping the basis of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaching still intact. We dealing with a system here. Do you know that there's a file in which they state that of national security, that the Nation of Islam must be seen by African Muslims and Eastern Muslims as not being Muslim? This is documented.
Whoa.
So when we are looking at these things, we need to look at it from a very clear eye, not from emotionalism, but look at it from the eyes of study and from the benefit that we have that they did not have. We have the benefit of being able to go within these documents and read and study. We have the benefit of individuals now living long enough to have been questioned before they died. We have that benefit. We have the benefit to know that Spike Lee said that I made a picture as if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad appeared unto Malcolm X in his cell. But we have and that's a good picture on the screen, but we ignore what Brother Minister Malcolm X said inside of his book with Alex Haley. He said that he described the individual. He talked about how the individual hair was. He talked about that he looked like he was an Arab or like an Asiatic, but he wasn't white. And he said when he got out, he said when he got out, he spoke about it in the book. He said he had come to know that was Master Fard Muhammad who appeared to him while in his cell. Not the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Fard Muhammad. So we have to keep things very realistic when we're talking about being students of study. Because we are facing a very serious thing at this time. And not only we are facing it in that direction, we're facing a empath of our unity. Of our unity. The unity of us and the unity of Moorish Americans, the unity of us and the Israelite brothers and sisters, the unity of us and Black people in general. But if the head powers of this thing, who are organizations that has been around for all these years and has a proven record of saving the people and fallen humanity, can't unify, then the people are gone.
Yes, sir.
We each have something to give the people to the resurrection and the building of our part of the mother plant. We each do.
Mm-hmm.
Because whether we look at it or not, we are squared off. We are on every side. We are surrounded by enemies
That's a fact.
that's attempting to stop the Islam from rising in the West. But not just any Islam, a particular Islam, for which is structured just for us.
Right.
Because there has been no other Islam that has worked like this. There's none. You can do all that stuff, man. It doesn't matter. If you don't give a person knowledge of self, then they just niggas with a religion. That's all they are. You dig what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
They just niggas with a religion. It ain't nothing more that they got. It's just a nigga with a religion. So we have to get from out of those stages of development, and hopefully we get to see who we are again.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
see
sir.
what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Because I always tell brothers they need to study the Circle 7 Quran. They need to educate themselves on what exactly, not the mythos that people like to bring, study exactly what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali actually taught.
Mm-hmm.
Study exactly what he taught. You see that the God was on point.
Yes, sir.
He was on point.
Yes, sir. He said he brought us 3 people. He thought he told us he brought everything it would take to save a nation. And he held up 3 documents.
1,000%. But see, again, what people don't realize is it's one Quran. It's just different surahs.
Exactly.
And this is what we are. We are surahs within the Quran. And we are building to make that mother plane. That's what we're moving for. And there are forces fighting, boy, to stop us from taking off.
Actual fact.
They fighting to stop us from taking off. They don't want us to launch. They attack everybody.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Absolutely.
People are too caught up in what Minister Farrakhan did with Scientology, what Minister Farrakhan didn't do what they wanted him to do, and all that. What? This man got years of rumbling for our people and spreading the teachings of the messenger throughout the world without never disrespecting or degrading anybody that came before the Nation of Islam, and give props to them of what they've done as forerunners to these teachings. They too busy trying to talk about what Prophet Noble Drew Ali is not, instead of the beautiful structure that he left us for us to study.
Yes, sir. Honors and gratitude, created a boundless universe for the $5 super chat. Said, great point. Everyone has a piece to the solution. The puzzle is already identified.
Absolutely.
With physics. I agree. I agree.
And I mean, I think we're going to get it together because the enemy going to make us get it together. That's what oppression does.
Yes, sir.
The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about those fiery serpents.
Yes, sir.
If the children of Israel won't wake up, then that white man just released, Allah just released them fiery serpents upon us. Those fiery serpents are angry white people, according to what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. And taught again by Brother Minister Farrakhan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, it's just certain things you can't deny, man. But people have to know men's workings in their movement and prophecy. I don't have anything against Brother Minister Farrakhan. I'm very thankful for my big brother. 1,000%.
I can honestly say I am too.
Yeah.
And I think I've told this story before, but he's very in in regards to my path,
Right.
you know, he's very instrumental in me coming to Islam, you know.
Yes, sir.
Because my father, you know, when I was, when I was incarcerated, my father instructed me to find Farrakhan and the Muslims.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Wow.
that's what initially pushed me into the direction of Islam, and from there I just continued to grow.
1,000%.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
1,000%.
Right.
And if just in case you got people who did not believe this aspect of, because people don't like to talk about Imam Wahid Muhammad, but
Yes.
if people don't believe,
What is that, Mama?
and I hope that they can, if they can hear this.
Edmund Abdul Hafiz was once a prominent figure in the Nation of Islam, the so-called Black Muslims.
You can hear it?
The Nation of Islam was for years ruled by Elijah Muhammad, who maintained he was practicing a traditional form of Islam. But it was his son, W.D. Muhammad, who inherited the movement and sought to enter into a kind of partnership with the Wahhabis from Saudi Arabia. In the mid-1980s, Edmund Abdul Hafiz was an assistant to W.D. Muhammad at a meeting in Los Angeles, where a high-ranking official from the Saudi Arabian embassy in Washington approached them. I was introduced to the assistant director of the Islamic Affairs Department, Brother Khalil Ali-Allah. That was, from my understanding, the first time of Wahhabi influence or monies coming from Saudi Arabia to what was earmarked to, quote-unquote, help us as a community. Khalil Ali-Allah represented the Islamic Affairs Department of the Saudi Arabian Embassy in Washington, a post that was in effect the direct arm of the Wahhabi clerics in Riyadh and Mecca. After the Los Angeles meeting, he traveled to Chicago, where Edmund Abdul Hafiz was opening a new mosque. We actually became like friends. We saw each other so often. They told us that they wanted us. They wanted to use Imam W.D. Muhammad's community to help to establish Islam in America.
You can't fight this.
To Saudi Arabia on 5 different occasions. We went to visit the king. We went to visit the crown prince. The king's right-hand man asked us what was it that we needed, because they told us, they said, we're here to make sure that you get whatever you need for your efforts in Dawah in America. Dawah in America, which loosely translates from the Arabic into the conversion of the Americans to Islam. In this case, the Wahhabi form of Islam. They began to give him monies. I don't know exactly how much, but I believe the last figure I heard was somewhere around $1 million to get everything started. We established one mosque with their money in Chicago. Those monies given to us by the Saudis. And the Saudis, they told us to find a place, Khalil Ali-Allah, find a place, don't worry about what it costs, and just let us know and we'll get it for you. Did you ever see the checks? For this, yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. It was given to me. It was on the outskirts of Chicago that the Saudi embassy in Washington intended to place its biggest bet, urging Edmund Abdul Hafiz to buy a 20-acre parcel of land to build a mosque, 2 schools, and an information center. Edmund Abdul Hafiz was once a prominent figure.
You can hear that, right?
Yep.
Okay. And the label of that is FBI and Wahhabism. Now, what's important about that is when you get Abu Wahhab, he was connected to the British government.
Mm-hmm.
That's who financed him. I gave you a book, which is the Confessions of a British Spy, and the enmity with Islam. So it starts to talk about their connection with Wahhab and pretty much how they backed him.
Mm.
Then when you get into the history, you start to find out that Wahhab had a relationship with the Saud family. And he pretty much approached them. And he pretty much told them that in order for to solidify your power, you should push this.
Right.
And then if they told him if you push that, it will also give you the political power and it will give you the religious authority. So when you look at Salafism today, do not every single head with inside of them imams that's inside of them mosques, who do they call? Saudi Arabia.
Arabia. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Our brother, Traore in Burkina Faso, after he done got them people out and everything, what does Saudi Arabia offer?
To build over 200 mosques, right?
Oh, okay, thank you. And when he turned it down, he said, no, we can use that for other things. What came in and killed the village? Salafi jihadists came in and killed an entire village. It seemed like that show you who they work for.
Mm.
And I don't even want to get into that, but I'm just showing the history and what's really going on here.
Yes, sir.
So definitely we have to come to a deeper understanding of this thing and what's really going on. And we have to get out of this stuff with Malcolm and this stuff over here and the separations that we have. And if because you wore a black fez and he wore a red one, or arguing over which person was the control after this and who was he loyal? Are you loyal? Do you deserve the fez what the fez represent?
Mm.
Do you deserve the national that you put on that lapel of your coat?
Mm.
Right?
Right.
Because that's development. They can't make you develop. They can give you the instruments to operate on yourself.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. But they can't make you use them.
Absolutely.
We arguing over trivial things.
Mm.
Stuff is trivial. We think we have all this time. We ain't got no time.
Not at
Time
all.
is running out.
Not at all. They don't have no time, brother.
No, we ain't got no time. Man, I missed you, brother.
Yes, sir, man. It's always great to build with the guy, bro. You already know that. You already know that, Mr. True. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
Yes, sir.
Man, just
if you have any questions, God, you can ask.
You know, I'm trying to formulate this question. I have this question. Okay, the Savior's Day, the messenger's last Savior's Day, right?
74.
Right. What peculiar things transpired then? Or some of the things that you saw, possibly that gave light to the coup d'etat?
I think it was either 74 or 73, in which the messenger was sitting in the seat and he was ready to lecture. And he was attempting to stand up, and they was pushing him back down. And while he was trying to get up, you know, he was weaker than you could see his little frail arm shake on the chair arm. So in order to laugh it off, he stated, you know, they just would like me to be seated. If that's the messenger of Allah and he want to stand, then nigga, put your back to his back and you stand next to him and you grab both his arms so that he can speak. You don't force the messenger of Allah back down in a seat.
Disrespectful.
Come on, man. Come on, you got to be kidding me, man.
Wow. Honest and gratitude created a boundless universe. Said Brother Wesley Muhammad talked about this and on blue and red pill the other night. There will be a continuation tomorrow on this and related subjects. Okay. Okay. Honest and gratitude for that. I'll make sure I go and
That's a
check it.
blessing. I haven't seen it.
I did. I did.
You saw it?
I did watch it. I did watch it. Him and Sharif was on red pill
Okay.
and blue pill show,
Mhm.
and it was a most definitely informative show, as you already know.
Yeah.
Um,
The gods are sharp.
yes, sir. Both of them, very much so, very much so, brother. Um, yeah, I want to put that in the chat. Just let anybody know if you're an upcoming streamer and you have any desire to do podcasting and you need a platform that will assist you in your podcast desires, try StreamYard. That's what we're on right now. And I'll place my referral link in the chat. So if you desire that, hit the link. Go get straight. Get on StreamYard. Start streaming today. But that's a very serious thing right there, because I notice amongst all our in most of our communities, brother, especially when the coup d'etats are being thrown, you see the disregard for the sacrifice of the figureheads. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And you start to see the attitudes and the energy change towards the founders. And even in the case of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Right.
However, um, what do you feel, other than Wallace? Because I understand that he was a player and is probably the key player, of course,
1000%.
the key player. How do you feel, other than the FBI, which was the main which is the main culprit?
Yeah.
Um, how do you in what other ways do you think Wallace was helped to accomplish his mission?
It's very simple. Wallace had converted many of the officials.
Mm.
He 1000% did. That's what has to be understood. They was already over it. They was already done.
Mm.
It wasn't nothing that was going to nothing that could have been done to stop what was coming. There's only two people. I would say there was monsters in the Nation of Islam. But what Wallace did when he took over power, he moved people before they could see who he truly was. He moved people from their power bases.
Mm.
So Minister Jeremiah, he sent him to New York. He took Minister Farrakhan and brought him to Chicago in order to keep him close. You see,
Mm-hmm.
the minister came under serious death threats and all that stuff, man. A brother by the name of George Powell said that they had even blew up the minister's car in order to try to scare him. So when they say he didn't stand up at the threat of his life, I will have to disagree. In the belief system that when Wallace took over, it was a bloodless coup, I will have to disagree on that as well. Because you're talking about men that was killing and dying inside of the prisons, who automatically became a separate tribe from those who were strictly messengers to those that went with Wallace. So in the same teams that was under him and the same forces that was under him came and took control. I believe that Wallace went to Gratisford prison, at which time he had spoke to, I believe his name, Clarence X, who was Imam Shamsuddin Muhammad, that wound up being over Sister Claire Muhammad's school and mosque,
Mm-hmm.
and put him over in Philly. So Wallace had a plan, and he put that plan together. Now, later on, I guess when he was no longer angry or no longer under federal control, he actually came back to his father. He reinstated Savior's Day.
Mm.
He even called Master Muhammad our Savior.
Mm.
And if correct, he had a discussion with his imams in which he said he had to go back over and look at what Master Muhammad had brought us. But unfortunately, it was too late.
Wow.
He had already opened up that door. He had already destroyed his father's teaching. And unfortunately, because of his workings, is a lot of the issues that we have today. We have serious issues today because of that. So,
whoa,
it was just too many rats that were working with the FBI. Just too many of them to even declare. You know what I mean? But they was in key positions, man. They had it under siege.
Yes, sir. Wow. Anybody in the chat, if y'all have questions, please super chat your questions and we'll get right to them. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. Hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button for me. Make sure you hit the like button for me. Get me in the algorithm. Also, share the video to your social medias. Support the channel. I have the cash out pinned in the comments. It's also on the screen right here. If you desire to help what you could help to support, please hit the cash app. If you can send a super chat, super sticker, super thanks. All is welcome and all is appreciated. All is honored and gratitude. Peace, Caleb Adams. Peace. Yusuf Bey. Peace. How can I contact Brother Ali-Allah? By that name right there on Facebook. You can get the brother right there on Facebook by that name. Khalil Ali-Allah. Yes, but if you have any questions, please hit the chat. With a super chat, super sticker, super thanks, whatever may have you. But yeah, brother. Whoa, you dropped a lot. You dropped a lot in a very short amount of time. You dropped a lot, brother. I know we got another show coming up in about 35 minutes.
30 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. What other questions do I have? Yeah. There's so much I can say. So many questions, man. I'm trying to give somebody else a chance to ask some questions. Y'all come with it. But you know, when you build, you make it so plain. I guess you don't have any. I guess they don't have any questions. I mean, because you laid it right on the table. Let me cut no corners. Hey, I want to speak about a brother. Now, maybe you have some very interesting brother. I did some history on him, and he just by actual fact he transitioned not too long ago. The brother by the name of Jabril Muhammad. You know what I'm talking about?
Bernard Kutchman?
I don't know. I don't know.
The brother that wrote in the paper?
The brother who I know he was very close to Farrakhan.
Oh, the brother that wrote in the Final Call.
Yeah, that brother.
Oh, you talking about the elder God?
Yes, sir.
The elder God was sharp, man.
Yes,
he was
sir.
sharp. I'm not going to get into certain things that I know from people that was there with the messenger. I'll just say that the God did a worthy duty.
Mm-hmm.
And I salute him and I respect him for the works that he has done, for the pushing of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
From helping Big Brother Minister Farrakhan stand back up and do what was necessary in order to bring certain realities about for the people and the establishment of the messenger teachings again.
Yes.
Because no matter really what people say, right? He is the largest And I have never seen nobody explain the messenger teachings to a large scale as Brother Minister Farrakhan. If there was somebody else to do it, they would have did it. And instead of people crying about what Prophet Ali didn't do, what Brother Minister Farrakhan didn't do, what I've learned is that you have the 24 hours, same 24 hours in the day. You have the same exact teachings, which means you have the same exact duty. So wherever you think they fall short at, then why didn't you unify and do it yourself?
Yes, sir.
That's how I see it.
Peace, boy, unique. Peace,
I don't have
peace,
anything
peace.
bad to say.
Man, myself either, brother, man. Of course, as men, we are, it's always points of disagreement. But
Yeah,
in Islam, we're taught to look at, the best part.
1,000%.
Yeah. So I agree. You know what I'm saying? I agree. I agree with brother. Tell me something, brother. And I know you're gonna dive into this, or at least, tell us about the supreme angels, brother.
Mm.
Because see, I've had you on a couple times. I don't think you ever touched on that. So I just wanted to, give people, allow the listening audience to get a little view on who are the supreme angels.
Master Muhammad was the one that ordered our organization to come into being. He utilized the prime Minister Ali-Allah in order to formulate the supreme angels. To put it in one, to make it very simple, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about angels all throughout his writings. One of the good things to get is to get Brother Aki Wazir Ali-Allah's books. One in particular, which I think he put it in 4 volumes now. It's called The Angels of Allah. Master Muhammad, heavy books where he go into detail and cite straight from the messenger of the event of the angels. You see what I mean? And what our duty will pretty much be. And we're actually performing that duty. It ain't about us being an organization or belonging to organizations. It's about us being dutiful.
Yes, sir.
Make sure that there are no mistakes made. So that becomes a very important purpose from our position. But one of the things that I would tell you that Brother Wazir Ali-Allah did was he made sure to get everything that he could get his hands on and paid prices for that of the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, read documents and all that stuff you see out in the public now. And a lot of that is because of the studious work that he had done, serving 30 years in prison. And the many angels that also came from up under that belt who sacrificed their lives, some that are now free after doing 35 years, 31 years, 29 and a half years, and these men being free now, and the sacrifice that these brothers has done in order that we will come into being, but he also made to qualify the lessons, made it mandatory that all the lessons will be memorized. He did a superb job to get rare lessons, also to get original lessons, and also to verify those lessons as being original lessons. He wrote many books building on these teachings. So I would say that the best way in description of the Angels of Allah will come from them actually getting those 4 volumes, which is the Angels of Allah, Master Muhammad, by Minister Ali-Allah.
Peace to the God, Wazir Ali-Allah. I'm definitely a friend of his on Facebook, and as you know, I'm always, keeping in touch with the gods, man. I'm always following up, man. And he's most definitely proficient, efficient, and prolific in his
1,000%, man.
Yeah,
that's God right there, brother.
God sharp. You know what I'm saying? He's sharp and he stay about his business.
Oh, 1,000% God.
Inshallah, one day we can get him on the show when he finds time. But he's definitely, the Wazir. He's definitely the minister.
Yeah, that's the God, man. We call him the double A.
The double A? The double A battery?
The double A, Allah's angel.
Allah's angel. Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing. He might have a double A in his back too, because he stay on the move. He
Yeah,
stay
yeah,
working.
God is on it. Yeah, the
Yes,
God
sir.
be on it. I
Yes, sir.
mean, you spend a lot of time, man. You know, that was the only God that you could ever find where they denied him parole because of his membership of the Nation of Islam.
Whoa, that's
Yeah,
serious, bro.
yeah, most definitely serious.
That's serious. They denied the brother parole.
Yeah, 1000%, and kept teaching too.
Well, I mean, you know how we built, brother, man. You know
Mhm.
how we built. It's a certain spirit, man. You know, the Prophet Noble Jew at least told us if you had the love of Allah and the spirit of your forefather. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I definitely, we definitely had that. You know what I'm saying? And when you
yeah,
have that,
I'm
brother,
very
man,
grateful, man,
yes,
and
sir.
I'm very thankful
Yes, sir. Yes,
um,
sir.
for the
Yes, sir.
great work of the God. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And for
sir.
all the gods that sacrificed themselves,
Most
for us
definitely.
to even be, man. I'm
Most
very
definitely.
grateful. I have the pleasure to, still build with the gods, man, and sit with those men that gave their lives. I mean, their lives for real.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
giving up their lives like that is it's an
Absolutely.
honor to be in the midst of the men.
And I also want to say, man, while we speaking about that, man, honest, I just want to send a big shout out, my Islams, my peace, my love to all the soldiers behind the wall incarcerated, man.
Absolutely.
You know, you know, staying on your deen and you know, seeking, keep hope alive. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know, I've been there, know what that feel like, and I must say, and I don't think I have to say it. It's most definitely not a great feeling to be in a situation.
Excuse me.
However, I think it was Malcolm who said this. Peace to the brother Malcolm. May he rest up.
Malcolm was a monster, boy.
He said all life began in a cell.
Yeah.
You know,
Malcolm was
and
that dude, boy.
yes, he was, man.
Yeah.
He's an exceptional brother, man. He
Yeah,
most definitely was an
1000%,
exception.
brother.
Him and Khalil, man. Khalil is another one.
Brother
You know,
Khalid, Dr. Khalid.
Khalid, yeah,
Yeah, he's
Khalid.
a monster.
Excuse me,
Yeah, he
pardon
was
me,
a monster.
Khalid.
But
Yes,
even
sir.
though Wolf did what he did, man, Wolf was a monster when it came to that mental game. He understood the teachings. He
But
just made a
I
decision to do something else.
got a couple of his books. I think I got one in here right now.
Yeah.
You know, no, that ain't it right there. But I do have one of his books in here, and I must be honest, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying?
I read his books.
I enjoyed it. I can't be disingenuous about that. I did enjoy the book.
No, I read his books. He really that. I'm gonna
And
tell you that.
he got some articles that I have from the newspaper, the Muslim Guide, that I cut out and saved. They're in here somewhere. One day maybe I'll pull out my archives and show some things to the people. You know,
Yes, sir.
yeah, brother. Yeah, but I truly
If you can't get that book, The Teachings of W.D. Muhammad.
the
He
teachings
brought it out in
of
'76.
the teachings of W.D. Muhammad. Okay,
It's
you right
going to
there.
show you something. It's going to show you something. I tell you, you're going to be able to see some things. I tell you that it's hard to get, but if you can get it, I think probably you would have to go to, and I think I called them, um, the Congressional Library in D.C.
Yeah,
I think that I called them and they said they didn't have it, which was very interesting to me.
yeah, it's very interesting. And when they don't have any, when they say they don't have anything, that's very interesting. Most definitely.
1000%.
Most definitely.
Yeah, 1000%. But you read that book, it's going to show you something. I tell you that. I'm
Oh
gonna tell
yeah.
you that right now. This is going to show you something.
Oh yeah.
You're going to know what you're looking at today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I guarantee you that.
I do have a request for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a request for you to come back soon and build on, because what's the circles that I've been in, man. Just in the circles of believers that
So,
that I've been in, the big, as always though, it's not like this hasn't been a big a conversation piece in the Islamic community. But I'd like for you to come and build on some hadiths, on the science of hadith. Would you be interested in doing that?
yeah, I don't have no problem with that.
Mm.
Even though I don't really mess with them.
I really don't mess with it. Let me clarify. In the Islamic diaspora, we know those who do adhere to the hadiths. You have what?
Mhm.
Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari, right? Sahih Bukhari was born 184, at least 184 years after the Prophet's death.
Mhm. He got more hadith than any Sahaba.
Right. So my question is this: what validates it?
Yeah, that becomes a deep question. I don't have no problem getting on here and discussing that.
Yeah, and because and then one thing that I noticed, a lot of them, a lot of my brothers and sisters in that particular school love to say is that in order to know Islam, in order to understand the Quran, you got to have hadith.
Well, not really.
I know this. I
I
know that.
understand the Quran, and I don't need the hadith to understand the Quran.
Right,
I don't need tax fear.
right. You
It's all
don't.
right. It's okay. It
I
has
mean,
its purpose.
the Quran itself says you don't need tax fee.
Yeah. I
Tax fees.
think
So,
that
I
through
mean,
proper study, understanding the language, and
mm-hmm,
knowing the times for which you're in, I think that there's a lot of things that you can understand if you just really research and
mm-hmm.
study and let Allah guide you to understanding what is intended. Let
Right.
me it's something I found this of Abdullah, that's him, right? That
Mm-hmm.
Worf said was him. This is something that I wrote on my page. This is Abdullah talking. It is all right to say I am Fard Muhammad. For Wallace, Ward of D. Muhammad, I taught him some lessons, but I am not the same person who taught Elijah Muhammad, and I am not God. So he couldn't have been him, but let me show you how deep this gets. In 1976, Worf was at a Muslim meeting in Los Angeles when Abdullah read a paper. He started a rumor when he said that he suspected Abdullah of being W.D. Fard. This is in Islam in the African American Experience by Richard Brent Turner, page 164. So when Abdullah got up there and he started lying and started telling people that this was Master Farad Muhammad and all of that type of stuff, he knew what he was doing.
Absolutely.
He knew what he was doing. The first thing that Wardi Muhammad did was remove the title of messenger and replaced it with master. He started saying things that he saw the old man once a week, talking about Master Farad Muhammad. He even stated that he was smacking. So he diminished his position in the midst of the believers, then swapped out the name messenger with Messiah. With master. So you get all of the elders at that time say Master Elijah Muhammad. That was the replacement for messenger.
Yeah, that was very
Now
bold statement.
if you research the times that you're living in, You can see many things that's in parallel to today. They might have different purposes, but nonetheless, the same thing has occurred. Though there's different purposes of it, of course. Because Minister Farrakhan is with the messenger. Wallace had went with the government. Two different people.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's just the history, man. I'm not making it up.
William Cook says, I remember in 1985 at the DC convention, CTR, he brought the convention center, he brought the center to a complete stop when he said he could get on the phone and get in touch with Master Fard Muhammad.
Absolutely. And he was lying. But that's what you got to do to solidify your position. And that is what you have to do to diminish him in front of your eyes. First of all, I got to create a circumstance so you can accept what I have to give.
Right, exactly.
That's just how it works. But this stuff can be researched and people can find it for themselves. They don't have to believe me, but you can find it. That video that I let people hear, that's with Crow, was the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They have the documentary in their historical archives in Chicago. This ain't nothing I'm making up. This stuff can be researched for yourself. I'm not creating anything. I'm telling you this is what it is. You can find it for yourself.
Yes, sir. Honest and gratitude created a boundless universe for the $10 super chat. It says, it is amazing how all the Johnny come lately people talking about intermediate fasting, and it had long been in the messenger's teachings how to eat to live. A little off subject, but relevant. Of course.
Yeah, 1,000%. And you remember when I had told you that he called himself Christ and Mahdi?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to hear this. I found exactly what he wrote. Jesus did his work. He's not coming back here ever. That's not the way of God. But his type has to return. Another birth like his has to happen. Has to happen to produce his type again. So that his type will be able to see the lies that have been told concerning his birth. It's not him, but it's the same as though he's the original. I know how Jesus is born because I've been born that way. So you can't tell me how Jesus was born. I've been born that way. Well, then, you're a prophet. No, I'm not. Well, you're a messenger of God. No, laughing, I'm not. Well, what are you? I am Masih, Mahdi. I am Messiah, and I am Mahdi. I am the Christ Mahdi, believe it or not. You know, for a long time, people have been hoping to fulfill the prophecy of the return of Christ or the return of the Son of Mary in the presence of a Mahdi who would bring the religion to its original purity. Stop. That's 1979. He said he the Christ and Mahdi, Messiah.
I'm going to tell you this one right here.
I'm just showing you that Wallace did this in 79.
And this is being done right now.
1,000%.
And it's being stated right now.
1,000%. Remember Samaras of the Quran. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm just saying what it is. People can land it as they want to land it. I understand why. Now, other people may not understand it, but I understand why. I understand the purpose of things. And I know prophecy and where men fit. And that's all.
And the fact that they must be fulfilled.
Oh, 1,000% it must be.
Whoa.
1,000%. I'm not making these things up, man.
I know.
This is what it is. Now, people could be angry. They could say whatever they want, but I'm not knocking nobody. I ain't saying no stupid stuff about nobody. I'm just simply speaking what it is. Now, they have to contend with their reality and their self. Now, I'm into unity and I understand the purpose of men and I understand the purpose of things. And when I understand that, that's all that matters. I don't see I don't see the messengers, messianic figures, or things like the messenger, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Brother Minister Farrakhan. I don't look at them from the eye of no error. I look at them from the eyes of being perfect in their mission.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's all.
Absolutely.
And to me, it doesn't take away one single iota from the greatness of those individuals.
It doesn't.
One single iota.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, I don't think nobody got no questions. Oh, matter of fact, we might have one or two up in here. Let me go look and see if we got some in here. It's a God, can you explain? This is from Billy Brother Born Unique. I think Billy Shaw. It says, can you explain the importance of remembrance of supreme wisdom in its totality and the importance of understanding the station of Master Farad Muhammad?
When you say supreme wisdom, are you talking about the lessons or the totality of the teachings?
I would think he was talking. Well, I mean, I would think he's talking about the lessons because I know in the lessons the Master Father Muhammad said it was good that the members commit the supreme wisdom to memory. So,
well, one, I think the commitments of memory is important because of the establishment and development and the maturity of the brain. Memory is a very important thing on the literal reality and the esoteric sheath as well. And what it does, it creates a connection between the originators of the lessons and the student. It creates the golden chain. So within inside of their words and within inside of their writings is their will.
Yes, sir.
Is their essence or mind being projected within the degree that we call a lesson. So at some point in time, and I've heard Minister Farrakhan break it down, of how that particular energy begins to bring to such a high degree the establishment of the mind of man himself or the student who is actually studying and reciting that degree. Me, I used to use the lessons as zikr, and I used to zikr the lessons. In actuality, it began to open up my mind to higher degrees of what those degrees represent and what they actually mean. So they'll reach a station when you begin to realize that it is not the messenger that is being questioned, it is yourself. Master Farad Muhammad symbolizes to us the Isan al-Kamil, or the perfected man. This perfected man is now speaking to you, bringing you a question, and it is you who is answering that question, yourself. So therefore, it is the law within inside of you, or your connection with your sheikh, or if they say another statement, or guru. And through that is your lineage into Muhammad. And Muhammad symbolizing the perfected man or the first intellect, or that particular state for which all things come into being. So that is the importance of the supreme wisdom. And what was the other question? It goes a little bit further, but
yes, sir.
That reaches the detail.
Let me see what else we got here. We might have something else here. We did have a question. Brother said, Brother Yusuf Bayah, I think he asked you, ask him if he knows about Yusuf Bey in Oakland, California, the black Muslim baker.
Of course, absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the God.
God.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Put in that work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, sir. Well, I think I know I gotta get prepared for this other one in about 8 minutes. Brother, I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, peace to the God, man.
Always, brother man. It's always a blessing to have you on. Also, brother man, we're gonna link up and figure out this next show.
Yes, sir.
Um,
You did it all day, brother.
yes, sir. Everybody, if you have not done it yet, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button right now. Please hit the share button. Please hit the share button. Hold on. Yeah. Please hit the share button. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. Um, create a boundless universe. Let me see. I didn't read it. I'm sorry. Let me get to that. Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. Created a boundless universe. I thank you for this super chat. Oh my God, I apologize for, and I'm gonna let brother answer this. I apologize for missing you because you're always in continuous support. Um, how have you seen the documentary by Omar Shabazz? I believe Sam Master Fard lived in California teaching under another identity. Muhammad Ali's wife Khadijah took him a
Yeah,
cue
Muhammad
from.
Ali's wife, Khadijah, also said that she met Master Muhammad at the messenger house. I disagree, and I think she's lying because she is lying. Because Master Muhammad said he hasn't seen Master Muhammad physically at all. So I don't really get into things that doesn't make any sense. If the FBI, I don't care what he say he is in America. If the FBI on your head, they gonna find you if you in this country. It ain't that much hiding under the sun.
Absolutely.
It's not one rock they did not turn. They turned them all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Created a
But
balanced
we have a
universe.
lot. We have a lot of information pertaining to the Savior,
How
and I
about let's,
leave
let's
it like that.
how about you don't want you want to bring some of that to the channel?
I mean, one day it ain't a problem.
Yeah, we can make a show about that.
We can build about the God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who would like to um know that.
Absolutely.
Yes. You're most welcome. Created a boundless universe. I apologize again. Pardon me for missing that super chat. I'm so glad that I caught that message.
Yes, sir.
Well, everybody, we finna check out of here so I can get the next show going. Brother Khalil, I appreciate you. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the share button. Hit the share button. Hit the like button. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Yeah, that's cool. I think that's cool. And also remember, anybody watching the feed after now, just because when you watch this video, when you come back and watch the video, you can still send super chats. You can still send super things. You can still support the channel. You can still support the Cash App because the Cash App will still be right there on the screen on the playback. Yes. Yusuf Beyah said, "Tell him that was my brother." So Yusuf Beyah, he says Yusuf Bey from the Black Muslim Cafe is his brother.
Salute the gods.
He has a Muslim bakery. Excuse me.
Black Muslim baby. Peace to the God.
Peace to the God. Peace, Yusuf Beyah. Yes. And I just want to let you know, man, and for those who may not know, a lot of the early members of the of the Nation of Islam carried the Bay and the L
Absolutely.
because of their prior membership in the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Absolutely.
So just to let y'all know that it's really not uncommon to see
We
that.
are very intertwined.
Yes, sir. More than ones would like to admit. But
Absolutely.
All is well. All is well. So I leave everybody with peace.
Peace to the
Peace,
gods.
peace to the God. Hope to
Peace,
have you
God.
back soon, God. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace, God.
Peace.